I'm live on Facebook and YouTube, and I've been thinking about this video and topic for a while now. Well, maybe for at least a week, I'd say. I came up with this idea to cover this, and I've certainly been wanting to talk about some of these plans. So hope you enjoy them, and I'd love to know what you think of Josh. Constructive criticism and any other comments are more than welcome. I'd love to ask: Are you Eurasian, or if you are a Eurasian person, i.e., this video is for everyone really, but it's mainly targeted towards Eurasians. I welcome all views and all that kind of thing, but people who are part European and part Asian, like Indos from Indonesia, who are part Dutch and part Indonesian normally, Kristangs from Malaysia and Singapore, Anglo-Indians, so then different orders to all to say, but never mind, being pedantic or whatever it is. But yeah, if you are Eurasian, and of course someone who wants to support Eurasians, that kind of thing. I have these videos, I guess, are for you mainly, but I'd say I welcome all views, but I guess these will be more targeted towards either Eurasians or our allies, people who want to support us, I guess. So yeah, when I do these videos, sometimes I want them to come out a certain way, but I guess just trying to express myself in my own way. But I thought I'd do it as usual in list form. Part of me was thinking, as usual, I normally think of like I should perhaps do like just a short video, but I like to do things in list form, so I hopefully don't miss anything, or miss as few things as possible at least. I know yesterday I didn't make any videos because I was indecisive and that kind of thing, just lacked energy and decision making skills. I was trying to take too much on as per usual. But anyway, these are pointers number 1 to 10. I think, but here goes. So point number 1, I was thinking actually of covering like AC Milan and my dreams for AC Milan. I've talked about that before, but as a Monday and a 25th, I thought like as Christmas on 25th, I could talk about my shopping list for AC Milan and that kind of thing. Maybe I could have stuck with that, but I did want to do this for a while. I had a bit of a dilemma because I was thinking the 29th, as my birthday's on the 29th, I was thinking of covering this, but then I was a bit impatient and I want to put the ideas into action as soon as possible. But yeah, sorry, number 1, I'd love to get Eurasians into football, into teams like AC Monza, Inter Man, AC Milan, practicing with them and that kind of thing. I'd love to get Eurasians into playing football and that kind of thing, and being involved in football, which I hope to come to, especially Italian football teams, and practicing, for instance, practicing as an Inter Milan with the Inter Milan kit against AC Milan. But actually, when I say against, it's actually to help them to practice. I'd love for us to get involved in, as I say, playing football and fundraising and things like that to benefit Italian football teams. Also, too, I think the number 1, like, hopefully I get these ideas started, but also I'd love to bring Eurasians together to, as a title and the description hopefully leads to, on both Facebook and YouTube, not too keen on this tea. I don't know if it's because of the milk or I left it to the cold or whatever. It doesn't taste like, I normally tell when it's not got sugar, but anyway, sorry. I'd love to bring Eurasians together. So there's the Harper project, Hafu project, Indo project, and I think that could be the Anglo-Indian project, AI project or whatever for short. I wonder if we could market that. Or acronym is AI, just like artificial intelligence, as I jokingly say, partly being a bit robotic myself sometimes. As some people call me iRobot or whatever, because of my punctuation and probably because of my speech as well. But yeah, I'd love for us to connect together, to unite together, network together, and that kind of thing. So to share ideas and support each other. So to combine, to have like the Kristang project, Indo project, Hapa and Hafu project, AI or Anglo-Indian project, and we'd have to probably clarify the difference between the AI project, as in artificial intelligence, and Anglo-Indian, and also maybe a general Eurasian project. Also, I was thinking of like Blasians, people who are part Black and part Asian, or mixed Asian generally. When it comes to Italian football, I'd love for Eurasians to specifically support Italian football teams from a biased point of view. But yeah, also I'd love for us to connect together. Also, I'd love to put these ideas into action as best as possible. So hopefully I'll find a way to say, if you've got any tips on that, please recommend any suggestions below. And Sugar, if you are an organisation who wants to sponsor Anglo-Indians travelling to Italy and sharing ideas on football, hopefully we can work with the town football teams and travel to Italy and that kind of thing, be involved in football, especially with the town football. But I'd love for Eurasians to get into football generally. And point number 2 on that note, actually get involved in not just playing, but also learning about football, coaching, sharing our ideas and strategies, practicing and playing, especially with the town teams and with Celtic, and learning all we can about football. So, get involved in strategies, having our own ideas, but also learning as much as we can, and hopefully benefiting, as I say, especially town football and Celtic, and to an extent maybe LCFC, where I grew up, Leicester City Football Club, because they're quite diverse, also Birmingham and other diverse places, also helping Asian football, but especially, most importantly, Italian football and Celtic, and practicing with them, including in and across and around Italy, and with Celtic in Glasgow, and maybe even working with them worldwide to help to promote them, brand them, and that kind of thing, sharing our strategies and ideas, and that kind of thing, and maybe working with FIFA and UEFA as well. But yeah, as I say, I love for, I suppose, for Asians and part Asians like Eurasians and also Blasians to get into football, as they playing, coaching, managing, strategizing, and that kind of stuff. Ironically, apparently it's World Football Day today. I didn't even notice that, but I don't even know that. I didn't even know that, sorry, but I saw it on Facebook on something shared by the UN on their official page. But yeah, I suppose other Eurasians might be into other sports. But yeah, travelling to Italy and working with Celtic, and maybe as I say, LCFC and Birmingham as well. But as I say, especially town football and Celtic, and Asian football maybe as well. Mostly though with town football, closely followed by Celtic. Yeah, as long as we do and help them to stay within the rules, again, cutting corruption out of football and that kind of thing. And moving on to number 3, I'd love to support libertarianism. Also, I'd love to, I know I talk about my own views, and these are my own personal views and things I'd love for Eurasians to stand for, but I'd love for other Eurasians to talk about what they want to do, talk about libertarianism, freedom, liberty, and Eurasians' views on different things. But I don't want to be, I mention that because I don't want to be a dictator. I want to be not an autocrat or dictator. I want to be, what's the word? A democrat, I guess, in a way, in terms of giving Eurasians a view on, and part Asians generally, a view on different things. So they might want to talk about supporting other sports teams. Me personally, I'd love for us to get into football and support Italian football teams and Celtic in football. Maybe in other sports we could help, like India in hockey and cricket. But generally, I prefer us to support and focus more on football and how to get more Asians and Eurasians in football. And as I say, I love to support libertarianism. Again, these are my own personal views about what I love for Eurasians to stand for and work on and that kind of thing. But I'd love to hear from other Eurasians and again, part Asians like Blasians. When it comes to Blasians as well, and other mixed Asians, if there are any other mixed Asian groups, I'd love for other mixed race people to support Brazil, maybe. I don't know, just like a fitting thing. I think like Blasians for Brazil has a ring to it, given alliterations as well. And also like the Blasians for Brazil, and also other mixed race groups, as Brazil is quite mixed. And maybe we could have a friendly rivalry between mixed race people. Even though we can be hopefully as united as possible, we could have a little friendly rivalry where they help Brazil and we help Italy, and like we practice together. Maybe to make up for hopefully helping Italy to become the world's most successful footballing nation at club and country level, we could help Brazil economically as well, I guess. Hope that makes sense as ever. But moving on, I think that covers everything. Point number 3. So moving on to point number 4. There's lots of things I would love for us to stand for. For instance, I wouldn't want us to join militaries, gangs, terrorism, anything that's law breaking, anything that's violent, unless in self-defense or defense of the vulnerable. It's a difficult one if like there was a fight. I think sometimes you have to be careful not to break it up. I'd love to break up fights and stop violence, but I do it through like sharing ideas on Facebook and YouTube and promoting peace and that kind of thing. But I'm a bit of a chicken. Like I don't know if I'd break up a fight. And I think you have to be careful with that. You have to use discernment. But that would be up. Each thing, I guess, would be up to Eurasians. I wouldn't want to force. Funny enough, I'm mentioning point 4, but I wouldn't want to force any rules, or they're not really rules or laws. They're just things I believe in and what I'd love for us to stand for. So I'd love for us to support Asia. I'd love for us, from a selfish point of view, to support Italian football and Celtic, slightly less selfish, but town football from a selfish point of view. But I'd love for us to support Celtic, maybe even LCFC, Birmingham, and other diverse areas, their football teams and all that kind of thing. I was thinking about something about setting up a team called Leicestershire County FC. It would be I was thinking then it could be, normally when teams are from the same area they become rivals, but I thought it could be a friendly rivalry that they have rather than one with too much animosity. But I don't want to talk too much about that. But as I say, I'd love for us to not join militaries, gangs, terrorism, anything that's violent or forceful, not to force anyone to do anything they don't want to do. I'd love for us to support libertarianism instead, and not to break any laws, always do things legally, but try and lobby for the least amount of rules and laws possible. Try and work with peace groups. I'd love for mixed race people generally to work with peace groups and talk about like the right to resist, trying to end forced conscription around the world, and certainly make sure it's hopefully not applied to any new nations, trying to lobby the UN and others. I don't know if I trust them, but maybe they can build my trust by supporting peace projects, peace through football. Like personally, I have an idea for, which I've talked about before, which is like discouraging investment into arms and the wars and the weapons trade and that kind of thing, and instead encouraging investment into town football. And Celtic, I think it's quite apt, as again, apparently it's World Football Day, to talk about that. So peace through football, how football can be used to build bridges and that kind of thing, just like even the UN says. And again, they could build the trust of skeptics like me by promoting peace, and we could lobby for like the end of forced conscription, or at least again not being in new nations. I'd love for us to stand for like things like peace, love, anti-violence. I was saying that, I suppose same thing as peace / anti-violence, love, tolerance, supporting more diverse areas, supporting Asia and that kind of thing, which I hope to come to in more details. But I'm going to move on to point number 5. As I say, I'd love for Eurasians to share, and mixed Asians and mixed race people generally, maybe even, to share views on what they stand for, what other Eurasians, what you guys, if any Eurasians are watching this video, which I hope you will be in the future, I'd love to know in the comments on Facebook and or YouTube, preferably both, what you stand for, what you think we should stand for, and what your goals and aims and objectives are, and maybe we can encourage each other. Me personally, I love for Eurasians and other part Asians and mixed race people generally to support my goals of my causes, and my goals as part of those causes are benefiting the town football, Celtic FC, libertarianism, former colonies, and supporting former colonies, including Asian nations, and especially like Malaysia, India, and Singapore, because I want to give thanks for them helping us historically. But Asian nations generally, including Malaysia, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, South Africa. My geography is not that bad, but Vietnam, Iraq, Singapore, and all of Asia really. A difficult one with Iran, but I don't want to get too much involved in that. I don't want to be too controversial, but I would love to see how Asian nations can work together. I'd love for us to promote, I was going to say libertarianism, but also, as I say, for Asian, Pan-Asianism, Pan-Africanism, and that kind of thing. I'd love for Eurasians and other part Asians and mixed race people to support that. Like with Blasians, I'd love for them to visit Egypt and talk about a network between Africa and Asia to come together, and that kind of thing, and share their ideas for African to Asian unity, and especially through Egypt as well, which is a transcontinental country between Africa and Asia. I hope that makes sense, but yeah, symbolically, the reason why I mentioned Egypt is because it's a transcontinental country, apparently the only one between Africa and Asia. So I'd love for them to build a bridge between Africa and Asia. But yeah, I hope that I can encourage Eurasians and other part Asians and mixed race people generally, as well as other people with things in common with me, like neurodivergent people and even people with mental health problems, as a side note, to support my 5 causes as a benefiting the town for Celtic, libertarianism, people from former colonies, peace projects, again, right to resist, working with courage to resist maybe as well. They could be part of right to resist, I guess, peace groups coming together, promoting peace and love, as I say, and tackling poverty, alleviating suffering, and spreading peace, love, joy, hope, and happiness. Number 6, I hope we work as hard as necessary, only as hard as necessary, but also to, as I say, to benefit the town football teams. Again, I'd love for us to practice football, learn about football, get involved in coaching, managing, and get involved in all levels of football, all areas of football, practice with Italian teams, and that kind of thing. And also with point number 7, with Celtic. I normally say that because Celtic reminds me of number 7, so, or vice versa. So I think of Italian football, I think of point number 6, and Celtic when I think of point number 7. But also, helping Italian football and Celtic to come more closer together and practice together. And again, maybe teams like LCFC in Birmingham, and that kind of thing. And also to work as hard as necessary, but as smart as possible. So to make easier work by working together, to support each other's projects and that kind of thing. And to make life easier for each other rather than harder. To plan things out and that kind of thing. I love to sit back, look at the situation, and try and find the easiest way to do things. So apparently, people like Bill Gates should employ me, because apparently, lame attempt to humour there, but apparently Bill Gates said you should choose a lazy person to do a harder job because we would find an easy way to do it. But if only I had a brain. So that was. But finding easier ways to do things and by networking together. But when it comes to sport, as I say, other Eurasians might want to talk about hockey, badminton, tennis, basketball, or whatever other sports. So I'd love to know from other Eurasians what sports Eurasians are into. But me personally, I'd love to focus and practice and prioritise as much as possible on football mainly. But again, other Eurasians might be interested in other things like, and again, part Asians generally, and like Asians. I can't think of any other part Asian background. I suppose if you're part like Native American and part Asian, that'd be another type of Eurasian mix, or Asian mix, sorry. Others might be interested in boxing, but I'm not really into boxing or fighting or anything like that. But you like going to the gym and things like that to learn how to protect yourself if necessary. But mainly I love to support peace and that kind of thing. Moving on, number 8, I'd love for us to work with other minorities and POC, people of colour. And again, love everyone really, whether they're white, black, Asian, or own fellow mix, of course, mainly, or whatever other groups of people, as much as we can. Some people are easier to love than others, obviously, but I guess we should prioritise those who are most loving and nice and that kind of thing. But I guess I'd love for us to be as, I get these words mixed up, I suppose friendly. Some of us might be shy, so I guess being friendly means like more outgoing. One of my sisters told me that I'm too shy to be friendly a lot of time, believe it or not. But being nice or kind, I get those mixed up. But basically being good to others, to treating other people as we wish to be treated, and that kind of thing. Number 9, I'd love to support Asians in poetry, art, writing, and different fields, support each other's projects, but businesses and whatnot, social enterprises, which hopefully help to make the world a better place. And something which I just remembered, which I was going to mention, and I wasn't sure which point to mention it in. I was thinking of mentioning it in point number 3 or 4. But supporting things like Asians on social media, also Eurasians, on social media, and Asians on social media, and supporting Eurasian and other Asian people, like Asians, I'll say, in other groups, perhaps, and mixed race people generally, or in terms of like modelling, the modelling industry, the movie industry, the music industry, being producers, directors, actors, actresses, and basically involved in those industries in different fields, in different areas, like I say, as producers, directors, actors, actresses, and whatnot, script writers and whatnot. Maybe collaborating on the music and the movies and that kind of thing together, and the modelling industry and all those sorts of industries. But as I say, I'd love to know any Eurasians and other mixed Asians priorities, or mixed people generally, priorities and plans and goals and that kind of thing, and how we can get more, as I say, more Eurasians and Asians generally into, Asians and part Asians into football and that kind of thing, and hopefully, as I benefit Tampa and Celtic and that kind of thing. And number 10, I'd love to support younger people more. In most cultures, I guess, the saying is to respect your elders, and I suppose I believe in the opposite. I suppose it depends what you mean by respect. But I'd love to support younger people more. I guess partly to address the balance, because if other people help older people more, I guess someone should help younger people more. I have some controversial views on like when I think in the Western world, young men are the least privileged group, and I have views on like chivalry, i.e., being male sacrifice, not necessarily literally. In some cases it might be literally, but in terms of sacrificing attention, time, money, effort, energy, and that kind of thing, with little to nothing in return. But yeah, controversial views I might talk about another time. But yeah, I love to support younger people more as well. I think there were one or two other things I was going to say, but I forgot. But it's probably for the best because I do struggle to keep my videos short and sweet. And on that note, have a good time wherever you are, and I'm out. Peace and love.